Welcome to Left, Right, and You with Tim Elenz and Paul Edwards. They're talking current events, politics, local, state, and federal. Now here's Tim Elenz and Paul Edwards and Left, Right, and You.
Hey everybody, this is Tim Elenz, and this is our second week without the pleasure of Paul Edwards being here. He's still on traveling out to Paris, so lucky us.
But you have the pleasure of Jeff Ward.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I'm getting all excited. As I grow, my goals will become more realistic, and I will grow more. So,
did you at least drink a Red Bull in Paul's honor?
No, but Paul will be back, and I'm sure Paul will have a lot to talk about because of all the things that happened in Washington, and he'll be very happy that the president has, I don't want to say knelt down on one knee, but I think he'll be very happy. So
he pulled a Clinton.
Huh?
He pulled a Clinton.
Well, we'll see. It's still early yet. We'll see what's going to happen. But Jeff is back, so welcome, Jeff. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I liked your article this week.
It was a lot of fun to write that one, I have to say, yes.
So, Senator Nolan, if you're listening, Tim Elenz, for the record, liked Jeff Ward's article. I thought it was a very good article. I just can't imagine how this guy keeps stepping on his yo-yo. It's just unbelievable. And I'm wearing a cute top today, by the way.
And what we're talking about, listeners, is the good senator from Elgin in his Illinois State Senate floor oratory supporting civil unions utterly ripped off John F. Kennedy's December 3rd.
Strong words.
December 11th, 1963 speech on discrimination when they were escorting kids into Southern colleges. And the senator got caught by another senator, Dale Ryder from Mattoon, who's an expert on presidential speeches.
He's a Democrat, too, wasn't he?
No, he's Republican.
Okay.
And Senator Nolan tried to essentially say he simply forgot to attribute the speech to JFK. But if a Larkin High School student forgot to attribute something in a history paper, not only would he flunk the paper, he could flunk the entire course.
Yeah. Well, it's, again, I'm going to just keep a scrapbook of Senator Nolan for the next 4 years. And
I hope you got a big one.
Yeah, and I hope he comes around. I hope he does the right things for the people of the district. So
I've talked to the senator at length about the appearance of impropriety.
He hung up on you once.
He's hung up on me, although
can't understand that at all. I don't understand why anybody would hang up on you.
I did call him back. We had a pleasant conversation about when he had his fracas at the polling place on Election Day. How, if you want to thank the judges, send them a box of Dunkin' Donuts. Don't show up and aggravate them. And I've really tried, You're
such a buster. You're just a Stones buster. You're just really...
But the senator seems to not take my good counsel and proceed to, imitate JFK. And as I've said in the column, he did his... Senator Nolan is now Elgin's answer to Vanilla Ice. And you recall when Vanilla ripped off the Queen song?
Yeah.
And, tried to say he changed one note in the 15-note riff, and that made it different. Well,
sure. Well, God bless him. I wish him best. We're stuck with
I
him
do,
for
too.
4 years.
I really hope...
I live in this district, too, so...
And
I don't live in Elgin, but I live in Cook County, which is part of the 22nd district.
Sure.
Which he didn't realize when he was on the show that he does represent people of Cook County. So, anyway, we got a great guest today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and we have Ellen Orlowsky, who's a principal at Orlowsky and Wilson, C.P.A. J.D., financial planner, tax attorney, everything. And we got a call. I'm sorry.
Yes, we have Jeff is actually on the line.
Jeff is on the phone.
Let's talk about some breaking news here.
Hi, Jeff. How are you?
Hey. All right, mate. How are you guys today?
Good. What's going on?
Doing well, Jeff.
You called to talk to Jeff, Tim, or Ellen?
Everybody. Hey,
okay.
Let me throw this at you. I just saw on one of the TV networks, they just came out with a budget, all right, and what the Democrats have said, okay, now read it and sign it. They got until Saturday to do it. Well, there's 20-some-odd thousand pages, they said.
Jeff, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I was wondering,
you got to back up.
You
lost me. You had me and you lost me.
The federal budget, all right? I'm talking about the federal budget. They're working on trying to pass all this legislation right now. And the Democrats came out and slammed the Republicans because they're still trying to get that deal with taxing the rich people. And what it comes down to, bottom line, this thing was 2 feet thick. I saw it, the picture of it on TV. They were showing it. They want everybody to read it and sign it by Saturday.
But Jeff, don't you remember when Nancy Pelosi said about the health care bill? She said we have to sign it and pass it, and then we know what's inside of it. Why are you surprised? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know what? No, I'm bringing this up again. We voted these jerks in, and we should be able to vote them jerks out. Now,
2 years from now.
We just did.
Now, you know, I know you guys want to joke around about this, but this is serious business, okay? I don't know if you guys have private business yourselves like I do or not.
I do.
All three of us do.
Yeah.
Okay, quite frankly, what's going to come down the pipe, boys, next month, and the next year after that, is going to squeeze every single little business out of business, period. End of story.
Well, give me a specific example. Give us,
Hey, Jeff, Alan just asked you a question. Go ahead, Alan.
give me a specific example of how that's going to squeeze you out of business.
Well, the taxes, okay, I can't hire another guy because now my tax accountant calls me and said, guess what? Don't even think about hiring another guy because they're gonna say that you got to do this, this, and this. And I'm not going to get into a long, lengthy discussion with you guys on this. The point is, you both, everybody knows how much the small business guy gets taxed. Okay, I'm a contractor, all right? Now, they've passed this law here just recently this year about lead remediation. How did that come about, boys? You know why? You know how it come about? It's because children were getting sick from lead paint, all right? But it wasn't lead paint from the walls. It was lead paint from the little toys they're buying from China, okay? Here's another way of making money off Joe.
Jeff, we went from a 22-page or
22,000
page budget and the Democrats on Saturday to taxes to lead poisoning. I'm lost. So please help me out here. We got other callers. I'm glad that you called in, but I mean, please, work with me here. What's your point?
The point I'm saying is these guys we put in office, they're playing games with each other and they're playing games with people's lives with this budget. All right,
that's nothing unusual.
Well, no, but the thing is, they don't get it. They don't get it. I don't know where they. I mean, why in the heck do they have to have a separate health care bill? Why can't we have the same one that they have? Why? Because theirs is better than ours. So does that make us second-class citizens?
Yeah, maybe. They're the ruling elite. Everybody knows that.
Royalty.
Wants to go after the rich. Here's another one. Everybody wants to go after the rich. Anybody making over $250,000 a year. Okay, that's a lot of people. All right, that's including the guy that works at the Dairy Queen that owns it, or the McDonald's, which costs $1 million to run, by the way. The point I'm bringing up here, okay, guys, what do they make a year? They're probably making well in this sex of $250,000.
Yeah, it's adjusted gross. Hey, Jeff.
According to Fox Dave. News, I think this is what you're talking about. It says Nightmare Before Christmas. Senate Finance Committee Chairman Max Baucus from Democrat prepares to meet angry Republicans threatening to scuttle the 1,900-page omnibus spending bill unless amendments and deeply hidden earmarks are removed. And meanwhile, House GOP leader John Boehner warns, we will work to kill it if the Senate sends the bill over as is.
Thank you, Dave. Jeff, we got another caller. Appreciate you calling in. Thanks for listening, okay? He hung up. Hello. Hi, Left, Right, and You. This is Tim. Who's this?
Hi, Tim. It's Paul. How you doing?
Paul, you're back.
Well, I'm actually sitting in the Philadelphia airport. Just landed and waiting for my flight back to Chicago. I really was just wanting to listen to the show for a little bit. I just picked up a little bit. You guys are discussing the taxes today, huh?
Yeah, we said you were going to have a mouthful when you got back. And we have Ellen Orlowsky from Orlowsky and Wilson, who is a tax attorney here. So we should get some intelligence.
Okay, how are you?
I'm wonderful.
Good.
I'm wonderful. So Tim, I think you know my take on this, and this is something that I suggested to Senator Nolan, and maybe we'll get our tax expert to chime in here. Although I don't believe in high taxes on anyone, I believe if they wanted to look at the tax rate, they should really look at the income that an S corp takes. If they don't take it as W-2 income, they shouldn't tax it at all. That allows the company to leave that profit in their company and roll it into reinvestment, whether it be in additional employees or additional hardware, additional software, additional sales, reinvestment. Any money that an owner wants to leave in his company shouldn't be taxed. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, it's a pretty broad statement to make. the reality is they have to get the money from somewhere. And
You mean taxes?
Taxes.
Tax, okay.
So is it right to tax corporations versus individuals? I think it would be better if people kept their money in the corporation and really invested it, and it's really working. Then you get a tax deduction for it, and whatever you don't invest and don't keep in the company, you take out and it's taxed one time. That would be makes more sense to me. And even today, there's personal holding company rules. You can't leave too much money in a corporation that isn't working, where the money is not working as part of the actual corporate, actually, or what the corporation does. So they've addressed that already, but of course, lower taxes are better. Where you get the lower taxes, I mean, there's a million opinions on that. Where taxes should be lowered, where they should be higher. But I understand what you're saying, but I don't totally agree with you. Okay.
I just know as a small business owner, I sure would like to not be sitting here looking, going, hey, you know what? I made $100,000 that I didn't take. Would be nice to have that whole $100,000 over the course of the year. Go, okay, that can be two new full-time FTEs and another $50,000 that I can allocate throughout the year to buy new equipment or whatever. Invest in marketing strategies or what have you. Versus sitting there going, okay, well, at the current tax rate, that $100,000 is really only $65,000.
Right.
I got to give $35,000 of it away.
Right.
I think that money would be better suited me being able to spend that $35,000 to grow my company, because I can turn around and take that $35,000 and hire a salesperson, let's say, who turns around and finds me 4 or 5 new clients. That allows me to hire another 6, 8 people. The government's off of the income, the taxes that I'll pay, the payroll taxes, the payroll taxes those people will be paying rather than getting benefits. They'll get their money. They'll get more money that way than taking it directly from me.
Yeah,
let me make more money let me water it.
Assuming you spend it, I would agree with that. If you spend it, you should be able to write it off.
Yeah, and Paul, I actually agree with you on this. But what you're really talking about, and you and I have talked about this before, is separating out the small business owners from an individual working for IBM making $250,000 more a year. And I agree with you on that. As a small business owner myself, I think that would be a really good answer.
Yeah, I think that was one of I think there's a difference between the money a small S corp makes and someone who's a middle manager making $250,000 for IBM. And I think when they look at that, so that's why it really irritates me when I know that I hear them talk about, well, the rich are getting away with this. Well, you know what? $250,000 is not rich when you're a small business owner, because you know what? You might make $250,000 this year. With a dip in the economy or something bad happens, you can lose $150,000 the next year.
Yeah, but part of that argument,
where are you at?
Part of that argument too, Paul, is you have to admit that, and I'm a small business owner, that the tax rate on us now is, even if the Bush tax cuts expire, it's still historically low, which is a good thing.
Well,
I tend to agree that if you spend the money, you should get to be able to write it off. But you really can't compare small businesses with a company like IBM to big businesses.
Right.
So the rules really have to be different for both.
Right.
I was talking about a guy making $250,000 as a middle
and I think
manager at IBM.
Right. Well,
I think that's really where the differentiation comes in, is that small business owners are lumped in with IBM in the discussion. I think when the general public gets it through the mass media, it is
Subchapter S is completely different than a C Corp.
Right. Subchapter S is just one level of taxation. You don't get taxed twice. But you do get taxed in the year you make the money.
Yeah.
Well, there has to be, otherwise you could store your nuts for 30 years. I mean,
right, but he's saying maybe there could be a mechanism by
watch your language, Tim.
I was talking about
there he goes again. If there was a mechanism where you could stash the money away and not get taxed on it, that would be great. I would agree with that.
Yeah. I think that's really what I think so much of growing growing business is really an intangible, and that is that idea of confidence. And it's not they always talk about consumer confidence. I think small business owner confidence in that the government has our back, or at least isn't, and I think in some of our minds, trying to vilify us, having that confidence that, hey, when we go and we take a risk, that there's really a reward at the end that It's not going to be a pitfall in front of us. But you know what? I don't want to disrupt the show. So, Dave, why don't you throw me back on hold?
Are you going to listen? Yeah, we'll listen. I'm going to throw our number out there. If I can, anybody listening would like to jump in here, 847-931-1410. We're talking about taxation, and we're going to talk about this thing going on in Congress now. And how does this really affect the taxes? I'm sure. How does Paul jump back in? Or do I have control now? I can push goodbye to Paul, and he can't do anything about it if I want.
Yes, you have total control of left, right, and you.
Did you hear that, Paul? Yeah, he can't even. He can't.
He's on hold. He's listening to us in the phone.
Okay. Well, he'll call me on my cell phone or something. Yeah. What he'll do. What do you think about this thing that's going on in Congress right now? The Republican sitting down with the president and talking about. I have a couple of issues, obviously, with the extension of the taxes, but the Social Security thing, cutting a third, basically, of the Social Security tax. So we've been hearing for 10 years now how broke Social Security is. So my understanding is that money's going to come out of the general fund. $162 billion or something?
Well, there's the trust fund and there's the general fund. It's really, call it what pocket you want to call it in, but it's really basically the government's pocket. It's an economic stimulus program. They're trying to get the economy humming again. They need to grow the economy and create more revenue for the government.
And you think that that's the way to do it, is to put 2% back into people's pockets that were being held at 6.2 or 6.5%?
I think it'll help.
Mm-hmm. How do you? Have you looked at this thing what's been proposed?
Yeah, but
what do you think about it? Just your opinion.
Well, I think it's they need to do something. And one of the obviously none of us are naive. A lot of this is politically driven.
Absolutely.
Obama wants to get elected in 2012. And in order to do that, he's going to have to get a lot of people on his side, and the economy is going to have to be better because we all know it's the economy. And this is one way to do that. And being a Democrat, he wants to put it in the hands of Democrats and working people. And that's how he's doing it. Republicans want to put it in the hands of the wealthy because they create jobs. So you've got to really have both. You've got to have people spending money. You've got to have people making money. And Obama's got one, his big point, one of his big points is that the middle class in this country hasn't made any headway over the last 10 years as compared to the wealthy. The disparity between the wealthy and the middle class has grown. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this country was built on a strong middle class. And we need to have a strong middle class if we want to be, unless we want to be a two-tiered, structured economic country, which would he be? We have two tiers, rich and poor. And we don't really want to be like Mexico or a country like that. You want to have a strong middle class.
Well, you know what George Carlin had always said about this? He said there's the rich that do none of the work and pay none of the taxes, and there's a middle class that do all the work and pay all the taxes. He said, and the poor are just there to scare the hell out of the middle class. Keep them coming back to them jobs.
Well,
go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry.
That reminds me of an episode of the Cosby Show when Theo was talking. They were playing with the Monopoly money, and Theo was talking about how he could not go to college, he could still make a living, and I'll never forget this. Bill Cosby, as the father, he said, they come for the regular folks first and grabbed a bunch of the money. The problem, though, with them deducting, cutting our Social Security payments is, the pig in the belly of the snake is coming up. All us baby boomers are getting to retirement age. It's a level of insanity to drop Social Security contributions when it's already in dire straits, or forecasted to be in dire straits, and the biggest group of retirees are about to hit in the history of this country.
Yeah, but Ellen had a good point. It's government money, so they're going to find it. They're going to find it somewhere. Right. I think that's what you should keep it afloat. We have a caller?
Yes, we do. We have Tom on the phone. Tom wants to take issue with regarding the middle class here.
And Hi, Tom. I'm sorry. Dave, go ahead.
Hi, Tom. You're on Left, Right, and You.
Hi, this is Tom Antoine. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Tom?
Good. Here's the first time I actually called in you guys, and
well, thank you.
While I was listening to you, I noticed that as I listened, I heard one of you throw out some statistic or some fact, purportedly that the middle class's wages had not increased over the last 10 years, and I just want to challenge that. Because if you look at the Bureau of Labor...
I didn't say that.
Pardon me?
I didn't say that.
What did you say exactly
I said that
then?
the middle class has lost ground in comparison to the upper class.
If you take a look at the Bureau of Labor statistics, you'll see actually that the middle class labor and salary has actually increased over the last 10 years at a pretty significant rate. So I'm just challenging your background and your information on that.
I don't know what the statistic is. So,
okay.
Is it inflation adjusted?
It is inflation adjustment. If you actually just look at the government website, it'll show you exactly what the rate of increase has been over the last 10 years. And
the disparity between the wealthy and the middle class, does that stay the same or has it grown?
Well, I'll actually give you a general idea of what the middle class has done in the last year. And I think that you'll probably agree with this fact.
Tom, are you on a website right now?
I'm actually not on the website.
Oh, okay, I'm saying because we can pull up the same website you're on if you wanted us
to. Go ahead.
To.
Actually, go look at the labor statistics under U.S. Department of Labor, and you'll find this. That the actual salaries have increased over the last 10 years. And not only that, but we actually also increased the amount of millionaires over the last 10 years as well.
But that's exactly...
If you look at this,
that's what I think.
Transition from middle class to upper class, I think that we've done quite well.
Well, I think that's what Jeff was just going to say. Elenz said that there are much more millionaires.
Right. The disparity between the most wealthy and the middle class is growing by leaps and bounds.
Right.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're talking about the people under the middle class under $250,000 annual salary for couples. 200,000 households of 250 is considered middle class, right?
Right, but I just take issue with the way that you're analyzing the data. If you think there's a disparity between the middle class and the upper, I would say that we've had a progression of the middle class towards the upper class that has been unprecedented in the last few years here.
In the last 3 years?
Tom, are you paying attention to the economy? Just the opposite's happening.
That's exactly right. Things changed 2 years ago. I would say things changed dramatically.
Why do you think?
If you're going to compare over the last 10 years and you take out the last 2, I think you'll see a radical change in policy. We had a lot of spending initiatives in the last 2 years that now we're being burdened with paying for. And you've seen a nosedive in our economy, essentially. And I think that the stimulus that you guys are talking about really has not done the job that anybody wants.
Well, you're kind of rambling now. We're talking about the stimulus, or we're talking about the job disparity?
The stimulus is rated directly to the tax system. We got to pay for this somehow.
Well, you could. We haven't been paying for it for a long time. I got news for you.
You're absolutely right, and that's the problem.
Well, it's definitely one of the problems out there.
Yeah. Okay.
So now with the tax issues that you're talking about, the latest thing before Congress.
You mean the extended Bush tax cuts?
Well, actually, the increase in tax rates is what I would rather call it, because the extension of tax cuts is this is the rate right now, and we're talking.
And it has been the rate for 10 years.
Yeah, and we're talking about increasing the rates now.
Okay.
But they're not increasing the rates.
Well, they were talking about it.
Yeah, but they didn't. Okay.
No, they haven't, and
yeah, but if they don't do anything by December 31st, they'll
all expire.
Okay.
And we'll see the largest effective increase in taxes in our country.
So what Tom? Because we got to go to break in about a minute. So what is it that you're trying to say? Are you trying to say that they should leave the tax rates the way that they are?
They should be maintained exactly.
Get rid of the stimulus, and everything's just going to work itself out?
Well, I think that we actually should probably roll back the stimulus funding and stimulus spending, because that's just going to add extra burden to our taxpayers.
So how does it all work out? How does it all play out? People just sit at home and suck their thumbs and just wait for it? I mean, really.
No. Here's.
I'm trying to be. Don't mean to be sarcastic.
You're talking about taking money and putting it into the hands of the workers. I heard somebody say. I would rather have the money stay in the hands of people who are going to make decisions with it. If you look at what we've got right now and things that have not been spent, there's $1 trillion in capital that hasn't been spent because the wealthy, as you call it, or business owners don't know what to do with it because of the economic uncertainty. We need to create that certainty.
Okay.
Well, so they're creating it, evidently. Not, that just should help create it by not raising taxes.
There you go. Well, then we're in agreement.
Tom, hey, you know what? Thank you for calling. We got to go to a break, though.
Thank you.
We under rules. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening.